Welcome back. It is hot today. Anywhere else ridiculously hot like Arizona? Probably not. Anyway, I kind of explained on my last little video, there's a van there, what's going on with the projects, and I gave you guys a little bit of an update on the old Viper project and also on the van that's right behind me that I just hit my head on. And why I'm taking a little bit of a pause on that, but this is kind of exciting. This project was supposed to come a little bit later after that one was done, but I figured since I can't really lift the rear end in and out of that super easy, I figured I'd jump over to this International that you guys saw, the Will It Start. If you didn't catch that video, look down below. I did a kind of a reveal on this one, a Will It Start, and then I also did a wash video where we did the old Ajax cleanup on it. Anyway, if you haven't caught it and you're just catching this one, this little pickup is a 1962 International C100, which means it is a half-ton two-wheel drive, and it has the independent front suspension. In these years in Internationals, you could get an independent suspension, or you could opt for a solid beam axle in a two-wheel drive pickup. So this one's kind of cool because it's the independent suspension. It is a manual steering, manual brake truck, but it has the largest engine available for this platform at the time, which was the 304 V8, and it has an automatic transmission, which is kind of cool. I believe it's a Borg-Warner automatic transmission. I've never messed with any of those. I've owned one other International in the past, but never drove it really much on the road, just barely got it running and then ended up selling it. But it was a lot newer. It was a 73 with a 392. Anyway, this old truck has been sitting for a long time. If you catch that video below, you'll catch up on the story of this thing that I found this year. And what I want to do is, I love the look of the truck. I've been around shiny trucks shiny cars and trucks and projects my entire career. And to tell you the truth, don't get me wrong, I respect and I love a beautifully restored, perfect vehicle, but I have a lot more fun with something like this. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the farm kid in me, but as a little kid I used to ask Dad, well, that thing, do you think that thing would still run? Do you think that thing would still run? When we'd go by people's shop yards and see all the old junk sitting out there. That's probably where it came from. But anyway, this old truck was a really cool family story, and I want to get it back on the road and I want to enjoy it just how it is. I definitely want to make it look a lot better, maybe give it a little bit more attitude and make it a little bit easier to drive. And so I've got a bunch of parts behind us. I did get it running in that previous video. The engine sounds pretty decent, but I'm pretty sure that I still have some issues with this distributor. It's probably just worn out, the bushings in it, and we'll find out when I pull it out. But obviously, from sitting all these years in Arizona, the plug wires are like crackers. The spark plugs, I'm sure we'll pull them out and take a look at them. I'm sure they're probably worn. And when I bought this truck, the lady told me that they parked it because it was leaking profusely oil because of head gaskets. And the funny thing is when I got it going, when we ran it, I didn't have any major oil leaks at all. And the only oil leaks that I see, and they are bad, is from the valve cover. So I'm kind of thinking, and I'm being optimistic here, that maybe we don't have a head gasket issue. Maybe we just have really bad valve cover gaskets that are just dumping oil all over the heads, and that kind of appears to be the case, which is super simple on this. I would think after sitting all this time, if it had a bad head gasket and it was parked, that the engine would have been locked up, because if water was getting into one of the cylinders and sitting there, most likely it would have froze up by now. And the other thing is there's still coolant in the radiator. It is low, but there's still coolant in there, so that kind of leads me to believe that it was not burning too much water at the time, and there's no water in the oil. So I'm pretty sure that this motor's probably okay. And again, being optimistic, which is a stretch for me. I'm usually pretty realistic with my projects, and we'll probably find out later that I'm being overly optimistic. But here's my goal. I like things that I can learn on, and I don't like doing the same swap or the same process gazillions of times. And even though I know there are much better drivetrains to put in this thing for performance and efficiency and pretty much everything, I have a soft spot for old tractor engines, and this is a tractor engine. International's V8s were found in all kinds of agriculture equipment, and these things are known for getting the job done. They're very reliable old engines. They're very simple, and they're not high RPM motors. They're not high horsepower or even crazy torque numbers. The 392 was a lot more torque than this, and that's the one that you would find in like combines and stuff like that. I'm not sure if they put the 304 in any combines or anything like that. I have to look that up, but I do know that they're pretty decent and long-living engines. So here's my goal. What I would like to do is get this thing back on the road with this engine, and mainly because I just want to tinker with it. It's different to me because I've only had one other International in the past, and so I'll be learning, and to me that's fun that it's different. Yes, I could pull this out and slap in one of my surplus 6-liter LS motors that I have in inventory, but I've done that before, and that doesn't excite me anymore. So I kind of am okay with the power output of this engine. I just want a cruiser. I want to be able to drive this thing to the farm and drive it on dirt roads and enjoy it, make memories with it, and love it. And so here's my goal. Instead of, and believe me, the 2-barrel Holley carburetor on this is an incredible little carburetor. I love these things. They're great. They work fine. Yes, the bowls leak, but they can be resealed. But instead of rebuilding that, because I already know that I have a distributor issue, I would rather have something that I could let sit around, because let's face it, I'm not going to drive it every single day. Things are going to get in the way sometimes. It's going to sit for months on end. The battery's going to go dead. The fuel in the tank, because of today's ethanol fuel, is going to get bad. And then I'm going to go to get in it to drive it because I have a day that I want to go enjoy it, and this thing's not going to run. And so what I want to do is fuel inject it. I want to keep it pretty simple. I want to replace this ignition system with, not that there's anything wrong with points. I have no problems with points and carburetors. I love tinkering on them. I actually really enjoy rebuilding and tuning carburetors, and points don't really scare me. They're very simple and you can fix them anywhere. But that's not what I want on this. I want to do something a little different. So I'm going to do a Holley Sniper fuel injection, because they make a 2-barrel that mirrors this design of carburetor that will bolt right back onto this guy. And then I got a MSD billet distributor from the guys at one of the big international shops. I actually bought it off eBay. He sells them on there, and I don't know if he modifies them to work in internationals or if it's an off-the-shelf MSD part, but he lists it for a 304, and that was the first place I found it, for a 304, and it's listed as being compatible with a Holley Sniper. So I'm gonna try to make that work. I'm gonna use the whole, basically the whole system from Holley. So I'll have the Sniper throttle body injection that's got the computer enclosed on that. We'll use the, they do not make a HyperSpark distributor for the international, so I'm going to that MSD, which is also owned by Holley. I'm going to use the Sniper coil, Sniper ignition module, the Sniper harnesses and everything like that, and that's going to go ahead and get us fuel injected, and that was my end goal anyway, so I'm not going to waste time and money rebuilding the carburetor and the distributor, even though it's not expensive and I probably have a kit laying around, but I don't see the point in doing that, only to have the end goal of doing the injection anyway. So in this video, what we're going to do, we're going to put the Sniper on it, we're going to stab the distributor, we got it. The water pump is still locked up from the first video. I thought the engine was locked up, the water pump is locked up. I cut the belt so we could run it. So I got a water pump from O'Reilly's. So we're going to put a water pump on it. All right, here's our giant pile of parts on the old fabrication table. First thing that we need to take care of is this water pump. And as you can see, this box is like a limp noodle. This thing has been around. And there's only one in their system, so I really hope this one's okay. But yeah, internationals have a really cool water pump. It's like a little beefy square. So that's our water pump. Like I said, it's almost like a square, but the thing is heavy. It's a lot of cast there. Got some valve cover gaskets. This is our tank module. I got some tune-up stuff, spark plugs, good old Wix oil filter. These are plug wires for a Chevy truck, and I think these will work for us. I'll have to find out soon. Our distributor from, and I was telling you guys it was from an international place. It is from Hamilton Fuel Injection. So hit that guy up if you're looking for a distributor for your international EFI swap. Good old jug of 1540 Rotilla. Only the best. I mean that. This is the transmission computer for when we add the transmission later. I think I have a harness in here for that too. Yes, 4060 harness. So that we're not going to get to today. Actually, well, let's get rid of those so we can gain a little bit of room over here. There's the spacer for the transmission. It's just a 0.4 inch aluminum bell housing spacer. I don't know if this is going to work, so we'll find out later. I do not have the adapter yet. That's kind of expensive, and so I wanted to wait and make sure this is all even good before. The Sniper stuff I can all pull off and put on a different engine, but if I go a completely different route and I don't need the international transmission adapter, that would be a bad purchase. So I'm going to wait on that. That is a fuel filter. These are kind of cool. I'll show you this real quick. This is based on the old Corvette fuel filter regulator, and Summit has these now. You usually have to get expensive adapters to convert these over to -6 AN or whatever AN size you're going to run. For this horsepower application, -6 is more than enough. But they have already put the
fittings on these. They're brazed on already, so you do not have to buy the expensive adapters. You can screw your expensive fittings straight into it and you're good to go. So this is a factory Corvette. I'll take the plastic off so you can see it. Factory Corvette, and this is a fuel pressure regulator and fuel filter. So you have an inlet and an outlet. Your inlet comes in from the tank, regulates the pressure, the return goes right back to the tank, and you mount this back by the tank, and then you just have a single line running forward. So these are pretty handy. I'm going to try to do this. I'm not positive if I can with this system, but that's always my go-to if I can. This should be our ignition module, our main harness for the ignition module, and this I believe is a coil. So that's what we got going on. Let's get squared away and start draining some coolant and get this water pump put on. Alright, let's see if we have the old drain cock down here. Where are you? Oh, it even has a hose. That's impressive. Let's see here. Well, let's see if this thing is even going to break. Wow, it came right loose. So the cool thing on Internationals, get you guys in here, on the old binder. So here's our water pump pulley and our fan. We got 4 bolts on the back side of here to take the pulley off, but the water pump is actually a cartridge, so you don't have to take the entire body of the water pump off like you would on a small block Chevy or Ford or any of the others. So this is kind of cool, kind of an industrial application thing. So we'll start pulling off some old nasty heater hoses, and first the water pump. Kind of bummer about this is I can't spin the water pump because it's locked up, so I gotta do it where she last sat. Doesn't sound like that's gonna be a problem because this is all coming apart super easy. Man, I wish that would turn. I don't see any signs of leaking on this radiator, so I'm hoping we can just do an at-home flush job on her, and hopefully this thing will run cool. I don't know if these motors usually run cool or not. The little overflow tube is broke off. That's kind of a bummer. One more there. See if I can get the hands back in here. Right in the bucket. Every time. Perfect.
Man, she needs a pressure wash. This thing is nasty. I do not like that. Eventually she's going to get cleaned. Alright, that was the fan. Alright, I figured it out. So there are bolts on the outer perimeter to hold the pulley to the water pump. But those they are hex bolts. They're so close to the inner hub of the water pump that you cannot get a socket on them, and I can't fit a wrench on them either, and I can't really see what I'm doing, and I can't rotate the pulley to get things in a good position because it's locked up. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the whole radiator out and get a look in here. It's only a few bolts, it's 6 bolts or something, so we're not talking a whole lot of work. And then the other option is I can flush this thing out, at least rinse it out with the hose now that everything's drained out of it. Man, I love old quality hose clamps. I wish you could buy quality nowadays. The old hoses are on there. And I looked, these are not available from the parts store anymore. The only set I could find are like new old stock hoses, and they are spendy. Petrified hose. Oh, wow. Wow. That's gotta be a record. I'm bringing you guys in for this one. Check out that. What do we have here? Crustaceans. Oh look, there's a thermostat in there. That's probably why it ran warm. If it ran warm. Maybe that head gasket thing is true. Holy cow, there's a lot of rust in there. Alright, so yeah, behind here there are bolts right up against this perimeter, and they're hex bolts, and you cannot get a wrench on them. And yes, that is still my ratchet wrench stuck on there that I will have to retrieve. So let's get this whole radiator out of here. There are things in this vehicle that shouldn't be there. Remember that point in the very beginning when I told you I was being ridiculously optimistic? That's because I know better. Alright, so we got our giant self-tappers out of the radiator. Oh great. The housing won't clear the shroud. So what do you want us to do, International? The chicken or the egg here? This is a really poor thought process. The shroud, the radiator is blocked by the shroud. The shroud's blocked by the fan. The fan is blocked by the radiator. Perfect. Success. Small victories. It's all about the small victories. Okay. Alright, we have one bolt left on this thing. And I can't get a good bite on it, it's just somewhat rounded. Come on. Oh, it turned. Small victories, very small victories. Come on. The coolest thing about old trucks, it's not like the new ones with the plastic all over everything. When they designed these, they knew you were going to break down because you're going to keep it for a long time because these things actually lasted. Hence a 62 that I'm still wanting to put back on the road with the original motor in it. Try that with a new truck, it definitely would not happen. This bolt is turning now. But they made all these little trays. I don't think they meant to, but you have plenty of places to put tools and parts. I always hated when people would do that on fancy cars. You just can't do it. You're scared not to hurt something. There's that beautiful bolt that I completely mutilated to get out of there. Come on. There you go. Pretty please. Just do it. There's just enough rust on it. It's not coming off easy. There you go. Hey, we got it. That right there is a small victory. I'm gonna crack this old girl loose. See if I can get it out. Oh, got it. Oh, wow. She's crusty. That would explain the lack of rotation. Man, it ate the whole impeller off. OFF off. Should look like that, not like that. Let's look inside there. She's got the crustaceans and the stalagmites. Physical therapy right there.
told you that I was being terribly optimistic? Well, unfortunately, I know better than that. So, I don't know if you guys can see right here. Grab my sneaky little light, get you in here. After I got this apart, not only did I find that that freeze plug is completely rotted out, this coolant tube that feeds the driver's side cylinder head also has pinholes in it right there. So this quick project just quickly turned into a longer one. So I know if I have one there, there's also one right here, and you can see on that one it is got rust holes all over in it, and there's one down in there that I can see is incredibly rusty, and judging by the fact that plain water came out of this thing, there's no doubt in my mind that most of these freeze plugs in this block are probably due to be replaced. Well, I decided after I rolled underneath and discovered that all the freeze plugs have been replaced with those boat deck plug looking things, those rubber expansion deals. I'm kind of getting a history on this motor now and realizing that these people were not taking care of it, and they were just limping her on her last leg. So I decided to do a quick compression check. Got all the plugs out, obviously the intake's open. And yeah, guys, that's not even 100 psi, and that's the best cylinder I've found so far. Final decision, we're going to go ahead and pull the heads and pull the rest of the cooling system off the front part of this water pump assembly, and take these heads off and get a look at the cylinders and see if this motor is worth saving in the not as bad, but still plenty bad. Went ahead and got the exhaust manifold bolts out, and those were all loose. So that was a plus. Now we got this belly cover. Guys, when I say these gaskets are like a cracker, I am not exaggerating. That gasket just shattered into the motor. So even with all the pressure washing, this is what I talk about when people paint over motors that are halfway clean. Even with all that hot pressure washing with a diesel powered pressure washer, look at all the gunk I couldn't get to. So if you would have painted all that stuff, all that would still be there, and there would have been overspray over top of grease, and it's just no bueno. But look at that sludge. I mean, it is hard. The problem with this is that's all going to break loose and end up into the motor. You can see the camshaft right there peeking, a little window. I got a glimpse of this when I looked down in the distributor hole. I don't know if you can see down in there, but it's pretty cool. All these gaskets are just steel gaskets. Like, they're almost reusable. It's crazy.
This motor was 100% never been apart. I guarantee you this motor's never been apart. Every fastener was original. You could see no witness marks from wrenches or anything. Yeah, look at the crap in the cooling system. So I was really disappointed we had to do all this. Look at my pile of parts. But I'm actually thrilled that we're doing this, because this would not have been pretty down the road if I put all that together and it looked like this. So oh yeah, I wanted to show you this. Look in. So this is where one of the coolant passages from the water pump housing curves and goes into the block. Look at this. All that would have just gone in the radiator and plugged it all up. And you can see really well my freeze plug holes, that one and that one. So, oh yeah, that freeze plug, oh, that's where the coolant passage went in. It's not as full, but it is still full of junk. Fun fact, International V8 firing order is the same as a small block Chevy, 18436-572. It's good for me. There's our rocker assembly, full glory of nastiness and goo. There she goes. You know what? These heads have been off. Alright, we got cylinder head off, other than all the crap that fell down in there. Let's take a look and see what we've got. Nothing that I can feel with a finger. Usually if you feel anything with a fingernail, she's gonna need a rebuild, but I'm not seeing a huge ring groove. It's a little bit of one, but not terrible. But as far as what I'm seeing, I'm not seeing anything scary. It's strange that it has Felpro head gaskets, because I would have sworn up and down that this thing had never been apart. See any major like leaking spots in between on the head gasket? They look okay. So our leakage problem is most likely in stuck rings, and I'm sure the heads need to be cleaned up by what I'm seeing. This kind of sludge also forms when an engine, when it's not maintained well and it's got sludge and then it parks for a very long time, you'll get this kind of dry, crusty sludge, and this all needs to be kind of chiseled out of here and cleaned up. But I mean, this looks like a runner to me. I'm thinking she needs regasketed. We need to fix the coolant pipes. We need to clean the block very well. Now I just got to decide whether we're going to pull this engine out to do that, which would be the best, because then I could do oil pan gasket, rear main seal, and then I would just, if we were going to pull the engine, I would just fast forward and go ahead and swap my transmission now
And that might be what we do, guys. That might be the best option here. Instead of screwing around and doing it halfway, I would like this engine to look much cleaner in this engine bay. I don't like grease. I don't like working on things that are this nasty if I don't have to. Do enough of that at the farm. So I'm thinking I'm gonna pull the other head. I'm gonna take those off to the machine shop. We'll have them go through them, make sure everything's good, new valve seals, you know, check the valve seats, make sure we have hardened seats in it so we can run modern fuel, so I don't have to run lead additive. They'll hot tank them and clean them all up really good so they'll be fresh. And then in the meantime, I can work on pulling this engine and transmission out and resealing the bottom end. We'll check the main bearings and everything like that. And yeah, I mean, you can tell it's been burning oil just by how oily the carbon is in here. But you guys got to remember, I was putting stuff through it when I got it started because I knew it had been sitting for a long time. I was running some two-stroke oil through it, so that could be that too. So that's not the greatest diagnosis, but machine shop will put new freeze plugs in the heads and wash those all out, get them ready, and then my job will be to flush the block. I think I'll go ahead and pull this timing set off next and see how our chain looks. But if I'm going to pull the motor, I'll probably just do that out of the truck. It'll be easier. So anyway, well, we got a bunch of shiny new parts that we thought we were going to be putting on, and we did none of that. We instead played with all the greasy parts, but we know this truck a lot better. We know its heart is it needs a bypass. It needs a couple stents. It needs open heart surgery, guys. She needs some love. But I kid you not, I think this thing is going to run okay. I will look at pistons and rings and check everything out, make sure everything's good, and we'll slam it back in. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and call this a video for today. And you can see I've got tons of stuff to clean. We're going to have to fire up the old ultrasonic cleaner and start cleaning bolts and push rods, and all the stuff will get spotless cleaned while I have it apart. And I got to order some parts. I need to pull some freeze plugs, get freeze plugs, get a whole gasket set for the engine. I noticed no one has those in stock, so I already have valve cover gaskets, but I can return those and just get a full engine set, and it'll have those in it, and we'll go from there. But this thing's gonna be cool. I think it's worth it. I want to get it mechanically on the road, and then we'll keep working on cosmetics on it, get this thing slammed down and looking right, driving right. And I need to get some glass for it. People, teach your kids not to shoot out windows of classic cars. It just drives me nuts. But anyway, thank you for tuning in today. I'm sorry this wasn't as exciting of an episode as we thought, but you did get to see some exciting goo inside of an engine, which is probably up there with one of the worst I've seen. So anyway, I really appreciate you guys being patient with me while I've been recovering and getting some video content for you. If you would, I'd really appreciate it if you could take the time to click that like button down below. It should be down here on your screen, and click the subscribe also. It doesn't do anything to you, it doesn't cost you anything, but it does tell me that people are watching my videos. And as always, if you have any feedback on this video, I am by no means an international expert, and I have a feeling anyone that is going to be YouTube searching for international content, and maybe you guys have some tips for me on this old girl and what you see in the video. But until then, thank you for watching, and you guys have a great day.